chat. You cool?
Sounds great, man. Cool.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Business Breakthrough. Scott's back. Scott Looye, Nordic Painters, man. So it's been, I think, what we say, almost 2 months since we spoke.
Yeah, it's been a
It's out
decent
there.
time.
I
Yeah.
remember. I remember our last conversation was about following up, lead sources, maybe trying out Home Advisor. What's changed?
Well, I can say what you taught me in that short 30 minutes or whatever. I've put that to value like you wouldn't believe. I've really especially my number one thing I can say that I took away was following up with my customers, and that has
Nice.
been incredible. I mean, it's been night and day. I'm probably seeing like 65 to 70%, acceptance with my estimates now versus like 40 to 50 before.
Wow, dude.
So if I had to take a guess, I don't know exactly, but that's where I think I'd be.
Nothing makes me happier. So I really want to talk about that because initially, let's talk about what you first thought about follow-ups. And you were the catalyst for this is I
Yeah,
don't want to come across as what?
needy kind of. Yeah.
Needy, desperate. That was you, that was your thing. So,
Yeah.
and that's honestly a lot of contractors feel that, and that's why they don't. So what was it? What was the transition for you? Did you have to go through a couple of them to see like, wait a minute, these people don't feel that I'm being desperate. They actually value this. Is that what you're experiencing?
Yeah, I think that. And then two is just like I got, sounds a weird word to use, but I was kind of like emotional with each estimate I did. You know what I mean? Like
No,
I
it's not
felt,
weird.
you know what I mean?
I know
Like
what you mean. Yeah.
too like attached to it rather than just trying to sell the job. I was too worried about like, oh, is the customer ready to do it now? Should I give them more time? It was more of just, taking that leap. And I think the reason that held me back was it wasn't even necessarily, I don't even know my belief. It was my belief, but it was more of just talking to other contractors, and they're like, yeah, we don't follow up. I mean, if they want to do the work, they'll contact you. So it
Right.
kind of like rubbed off on me. So I'm glad I talked to you because, it's
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. And the thing about it is like we can't, like my big thing is like we cannot assume that people know this process. It's not like going to a restaurant, right? Like you can go up to anybody, hey, you know, have you been to a restaurant before? Yeah, or do you know how it works? No, like so the reality is that we can't expect our short 30-minute interaction with somebody, the estimate, to be the reason why they move forward with a $5,000 job, right?
exactly, yeah.
So I don't see follow-ups as, not necessarily like sales and something that I have to do. I see follow-ups as something I need to do
Yeah.
because what does that do? It allows me to build a greater relationship and build more trust, right?
Mhm.
With that mindset, it's a little bit different, right? It's because like
Yeah.
the guys I'm competing with think that they get one shot to go do and build value. I get sometimes two, three, four. That's on the phone. I get emails building chances for me, the text messages that go out, right? So,
Totally.
what is your approach to following up now? Take me through it. Like, so you'll do an estimate. Obviously, you mentioned that you're not emotionally attached to it anymore, which I understand what you're saying, by the way. You're building this relationship. You take a lot of pride in your company. You think that all the stars are going to align, and then you don't get a call back, and you're like, well, fine, forget you, you know,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it's like, but it's like, wait a minute, when you have a team, right? It's like, I have to get over that emotion of, hey, take it or leave it and say, you know what? Let me do whatever I can to make sure my guys are busy. Have you kind of adopted that mindset?
Exactly. And I've kind of been like, let's say whoever's the customer, I call them up, hey, call them by their first name, maybe,
Love it.
whatever their first name is, acknowledge them, know that I know them directly, hey, it's Scott with Nordic Painting and Decorating. And I just start as simply as, hey, I wanted to call, just see if I can answer any questions about the estimate. There's a
Boom.
lot to it, so I'm sure there's something you got, and
There's always a question, isn't there?
yeah, exactly. So, and then from there, I kind of move forward. If they're kind of on the fence, that's kind of where I'm willing, I'll
Yeah.
kind of get in why they're on the fence
Yeah.
versus just to land the job now, So, yeah, and if it
And that,
comes down to it,
and you're getting more information, right? Like, because the information is going to change the situation. Okay, so you might be and all it, what did I think I told you that. I said all it's going to take is one person, right, to be on the phone after a follow-up, for you to convert that follow-up to a sale. Now you'll do it forever, right?
yeah, exactly.
All it
So
takes is one, right? So the approach, and I want to break this down for those listening, right? So the approach is number one, you didn't come in hard. You came in, hey, I just want to make sure you didn't have any questions. I'm doing you a favor by calling, right? To make
yeah,
sure you're not sitting there wondering things and having to Google things, right? Let me just answer the questions that came up because we went over a lot of stuff. Number
yeah,
one. Number
mhm.
two, what's stopping you from moving forward? Maybe I can help. And in some cases, it's the price is too high. You hear the price is too high. Now you know you need to build value or you discount the price based off your margins and try to close the deal, right? Have you done that yet? Have
So
you have you
I've
altered your
actually,
pricing?
there's been multiple situations. In some
Tell me
situations,
some of the situations. Take me through a couple.
yes, I'll take you through one of each. One was the price was a little high. I kind of built the value. I said, listen, we're a fully insured company. All my
Love it.
employees are on workman's comp. They are all involved in the system. You know what I mean? It's like we're a legitimate business, so there's nothing on that end. So it builds trust, because especially around here, I find there's a lot of guys just doing things under the table, and
Right.
might think I'm in that bubble too, and they're just at that point they're just looking for the cheapest
Dude, you
costs.
got
So,
it. You got it. So, and dude, you're hitting it, man. You should be on this side of the microphone at this point because you get it. I mean, ultimately, you're building what I call back end value, things they can't see on the face, right? So imagine you're at a restaurant and you go into the front and you say, "Wow, the prices are really high here. I got a 5-star chef in the back. He's not cheap, right? A little bit back end value, right? I got a crew behind me that we have to pay very well to make sure that we're getting cordial people to your home. I'm not afraid to say those things because ultimately I see it as educating, right? You have got to know what you're paying for. I almost want to be like, listen, like I want to be like, listen, okay, the reason our prices are what they are, bro. I'm talking to you, not I wouldn't say bro to a customer, but the reason why the prices are what they are is like I pay this guy this much, this guy this much, this guy this much, this guy this much. He's been with me for 4 years. He's been with me for 3 years. These two are with me for 3 years. He's aspiring to be a manager. He's retiring with me. This guy has been, like I want to be like, this is what you as the customer are paying for. You're getting these guys. They can't be compared. They've been working together for 2 years together. They have a system in place. You're not going to have to deal with bickering, arguing, cursing, loud music. Okay.
oh,
And I'm not trying, and I just want to be like, I'm not trying to scare you. Okay. And I don't have time. I'm not sitting here. I'm not trying to bash the other competition. Unfortunately, this is what the market produces because customers think that, it's a fun thing to look for the cheapest contractor, but
oh,
you're fueling that fire, right? Like, so
exactly. Another thing I've been saying too is, especially, I don't know what it's like in Florida, but all the customers I have, and it's not even just painting, it's electrical work, general contracting, whatever,
yeah,
remodelers. People have a really hard time getting hold of people and getting that contractor to follow up, because, like I've heard you say this before, business owners and construction workers are two different things, and usually people, you know what I mean? There's
yeah,
a lot of
absolutely.
people that are really good workers and they own their own company, but they can't run a business. So
Yeah,
they're very bad at following up. They're really bad at, keeping in touch with the customer, how things are going. I make that clear that it's going to be a effortless time with us
experience.
from start to finish with you know
And you're helping them see that, right? And that is the key. It's like there's this intangible thing called value, right? Value is intangible. You can't put a dollar on how good I'm going to make you feel.
yeah,
There's no way. You can't. We can assume a dollar amount, and we find that it's usually between 3 to 7 grand in the house painting business. But somebody may value that way more because maybe they had a poor experience, Scott. Maybe they had somebody take their deposit, run, steal their car 3 weeks later, right? So they value this so much more than somebody who's what? Never hired a contractor before, right? So
yeah,
wouldn't it be worth it to at least ask that question to see who you're dealing with? Because if you ask that question, hey, what was your last experience with a contractor? Let me ask you. And he sits down for 10 minutes and tells you about his car getting stolen and the deposit getting taken and him having to change the locks in his house. Are you
make
going to focus on how delicate you're going to be around this gentleman so he pays more because he doesn't want to feel that pain again?
yeah,
And
yeah,
in the same breath, somebody that hasn't had that experience ever, doesn't know about contracting, is kind of like a deer in the headlights. we have to treat them a little bit differently, right?
Exactly.
We
You got
don't
to
need to
keep
do it, but we
respect.
don't need to do it. The trick is, dude, is we don't need to do it with fear, because a lot of us will say, well, you don't want to go with a contractor that's going to steal from you and take your car and make you change your locks. I don't need to sell that way. I just want to help them see, hey, listen, I use the restaurant analogy so much. I say, listen, let me just use this analogy real quick. When you go to a restaurant, you usually know how the system works. Somebody's going to greet you. They're going to come to your table. They're going to give you some water maybe and ask what you want to eat. You'll get some dessert. You get a check at the end. You know that somebody in the back's probably cooking the food. The server's not cooking it unless you go to a really small one. But usually it's not the case. When it comes to the painting business, everyone does it differently. There's not one system that has been universally adopted. Do you mind if I explain to you our system?
Yeah,
And then that just lets them see, bro, that we're different, just like that. And then we go into building the value. So I lay that out first, and then I go into building value.
that's real smart. Too, another thing I just started this. I've started doing a lot of brochure stuff. So after I get,
Nice.
in person, try to do all my estimates in person. I like them to meet me because I can, usually I can
100%.
sell,
Ratios going up for sure.
exactly. So I'll hand them a brochure. So anything I missed or I felt like I hit once, but I want to review it with them, they'll see it
Yep.
right there in the brochure as soon as I leave. And now they have a tangible thing with them the second I leave. And let's say they get 3 other quotes. I doubt that all the other guys are, given something tangible like that. That
You're right.
they have
No.
in maybe it's on their kitchen counter for a couple days, and
Yeah. At the very least, this don't take this the wrong way, and listen to this, even you. We want it to be kind of painful for them not to go with us, not in a bad way. We just want the decision to be kind of tough, right? Like when you're deciding between two things, and you're like, I don't need that. Like I'll go with the other one. The thing that you said I don't need didn't do enough to make you second guess, right? We just want to be in that conversation of 1 and 2, right? We want the only reason they didn't go with us to be what? Price. That's got to be the only reason. If that's the only reason you didn't hire me, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it. But it's because I didn't educate you enough, or I didn't align with your values, your goals. If I didn't, do whatever I can to accommodate you, then that's on me. But if the only reason is price, there are people that are just either it's not in the budget and they're not even close to being able to afford you. And obviously there are some people where value just wasn't built enough to justify that price. And again, that's the conversation we were just having about who values a solid contracting company. Do some people have to go through pain first?
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Yeah, big time.
Probably. And the good news is that they see contractors all one and the same. They just don't see painting contractors as separate. If an electrician comes over and scares the daughter because he's outside cussing, and I come over to an estimate, she's gonna be like, "Hey, I don't want anyone that comes to my house cussing." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they put us in the same boat. Isn't that crazy?
Exactly.
It's not fair.
So I just had another customer I followed up with, and I got this from I believe it's you. I'm not positive. I think you released a video and you kind of were talking about this on a different podcast, but it was basically how, once you get done, people don't like to say 2 no's basically. And I always try to end now with something along the lines, this is very similar to what you'll say, and I'll try to switch it up here and there, but like, if we were to let's say I know where my margins are and I can still take a good margin away from the job, I'm able to, what if we took $200 off today and you sent us a deposit, could we earn your business today? And that has been incredible. I've been putting that to work and
love it. That's
amazing.
How it's done, man. $200, whatever. Think about it this way for those listening, and then you, of course, $200 to get a job now, to get your production moving, to get something on the schedule, to do all these things, right? Is it worth the $200 that would have to kind of be allocated to following up, uncertainty in the schedule, production lacking, like all of these things? I would rather have the job booked. So the value of my future estimates goes up because supply and demand. You see what I'm saying? It's like, I would rather get that one on the schedule. Okay, I'm giving you a discount, get it on the schedule. The next estimate, obviously my schedule's full, so I can hold firm.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to,
like in the winter for me, it's crucial. I land as many jobs, not even necessarily for me. I always tell people I make most of my money in the spring and summer, and then when winter comes around, that's kind of like my maintenance. Yeah, I might make some money, but it's definitely nothing like the spring and summer. So my goal for there is just to land some good sized jobs and keep everybody as busy as I can. You know, that's
Love
my
it.
goal. And
And
then as
that's, yeah,
spring and summer
you
comes
will
around,
be,
starts
you
normal.
will be a top dog in your area if you can bullnose through winter.
Yeah.
A lot of guys shy away from it. Nick Slavic, I just put out, you know him? Have you heard of him?
Yeah, that was awesome. I can't wait to watch it. You know, is it today it's coming out, the
No,
video?
it's out. It's out. So if you
Oh,
listen to it, he has 20 some guys, gets them all through the winter.
it's incredible.
He doesn't take the winter off. I love that about him, dude. He
Yeah.
is on it. And I had to find out why. He tells us why in the or how in the podcast, but he is somebody to look up to because he's I mean he's in the snow, bro, right with
Yeah,
you.
he's like 3
doing
hours
it.
more than me, so he's right.
Yeah.
He's right here.
So that's some insight for you. So let's pivot here. Right now, you're chilling on the couch. You seem relaxed. Are
Oh,
any
yeah.
jobs happening right now?
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
Oh man, that's what I like to hear. I love it. So you're a business owner today,
Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly. So,
enjoying the fruits of taking the risk.
uh-huh. In the
I
winter, I
love it.
definitely am on the job like a lot more than spring and summer, even though. But today, I
Love
have
it. So that's
I
good,
spend
man. I'm
like
happy.
2 days on the job. You
So
know.
right now, money is being made, and you are sitting and getting better at business. That's what it's about. So let's talk about it. So we talked about, I mean, in the first coaching session, it was marketing, and it was sales. So I mean, that leaves us with production. I mean, you understand the concepts of marketing. Are you having any trouble generating leads? Do you want to go there, or do you want to talk a little bit about production and systems?
Yeah. So the main thing, I'd like to move forward with, and it's, and I'm pretty confident that it'll be a busy spring and summer, but I've got workers that depend on me. So it's really important. And the number one thing I want to become just a lead machine. I want to get to the point where it's a constant, flow of leads coming in, because once I get the leads, I'm confident I can make it worth my time. And it's just, the lead thing is still probably my hardest thing. Yeah, I might get a couple phone calls a week and I might land those and they might be a good sized job, but I want it to be, where I can get as much as possible. And it seems that the proximity has a lot to do with it. I want to reach
Okay.
out to get associated with some of the bigger cities that are like, maybe they're like 45 minutes to an hour out, but they're a little bit hard to reach because, it's just the Google listings don't pull it up as good and stuff like that. So
Got it. So let's talk about it. Did you sign up for Home Advisor?
I have not yet. No.
Okay. So we'll talk about that in a sec. So let's talk about leads. All right. So the analogy I want to give you is this, right? You're at a point where are the leads, right? Like
Yeah.
where are they? It's not a matter of where they are. It's where a matter of where you are.
Mhm.
That's all you need to know. Okay. If there was a sign outside of every single house in your entire 200-mile radius, every house had to put a Nordic painter sign on it. It was a state law. Would you get some phone calls?
I would. Yeah. I'm
Probably
sure.
more than you can handle, right?
I'll guarantee it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's not a matter of where they are, it's a matter of where you are. How do
Mhm.
we get places? Well, we've monopolized it mostly with Google and other things like that. You still have some ability to do your own marketing, but again, there's a system involved. There's two ways to generate business, okay? You either generate the interest, okay? You create the interest, right? So let's say you were in the middle of a marketplace, both hands cupped over your mouth. Nordic painters, $100 a room. Nordic painters, right? You know what I'm saying? So back in the day, maybe that was a thing, or you'd run and you knock on doors, okay? So that's generating interest from somebody wasn't interested, but you made them interested. You did that, okay, by your own efforts. You created the interest. Benefit of that is that usually it's exclusive, right? That means that, chances are they're not going to go shopping around. They may get one other, but not the three, not the four estimates, because you created the interest. So it's almost like they're indebted to you in a way, something you did, right?
Mhm.
So you created that interest. The downfall is intent is low, right? Intent is low. There's not that much of a need. If there was a need, they would have seeked it.
Yeah.
So that's number one. When you generate interest, the cost is generally lower. You're doing all the hard work. Okay. The new way to generate interest is social media, Facebook, Instagram. That's the new way. That's what the example I gave you with the guy cupping his hands. That's what Facebook was like in real life. Hey, Nordic painting here. Check out this before and after. And he's holding up before and afters. You don't need to do that anymore. You just put it on Facebook, and then people can react, comment, and then connect with you. Okay. You generated that interest. If you do cabinet coating and you put out before and after, they're going to say, oh my God, I have to see what it would be to get our cabinets. Did you know that they can paint cabinets? Like, that's the conversation that occurs on the customer side, right? So you're generating that interest, bro. Now, with that being said, there's a long time that needs to happen from the time that you generate the interest to the time the deal's closed. Again, why? Intent isn't there. Buyer knowledge isn't there in terms of pricing. Budget isn't really there. Again, that budget needs to be created, and usually you're the one introducing the budget into the household. If somebody put out a Facebook ad of what it would be to trench a big trench around my house, if that was something that was appealing, I wouldn't know the first idea of what that costs, right? Yeah. I haven't assumed the budget yet. So he would need to come here. That would give me my budget, and then I get another estimate to see if that's fair, because I don't know the industry and I didn't really have a need, but the trench looked cool. Does that make sense? Or a moat?
Sense, yeah.
All right. So that's generating interest. That takes longer. Okay. That's a long-term approach. You do that when you can step back and you have the pipeline filled. Right now, I've like 20 jobs on the schedule. I can generate interest now. Cheap leads, just branding and generating interest go hand in hand. I just put out a retargeting ad. I post on Facebook, and I can passively sit and wait for these leads. Okay. Right now, you being in more of a need-based category, you need to what? Capitalize on interest. So generating interest is you don't have time to generate the interest. You need to capitalize on interest. Okay. So we need to be in a position to capitalize on the interest. How do we do that? Number one, we have to find out what the thought process is of somebody who is interested, right? What do they do? How do people buy now? That's why marketing always changes, because people buy differently. 10, 15 years ago, you'd be like, hey, how'd you find your house painter? Oh, they knock every 2 weeks. They'll be around, or whatever. The same thing goes with like word of mouth. Oh, well, that's how it was. It's not like that anymore. Now it's, where do they go? Google. I need a painter. How do I find one? There's a lot more trust now with that. I mean, we hop in cars with people we don't know with Uber. You don't think people are going to call, try to find a painter to come to their house? It's normal. We've normalized it. Okay. Yep. So they're going to Google. So the first thing is, what's that Google presence looking like? How many reviews do you have?
So I just started pushing it a lot, and it seems like, it's like I'll send them the review link, and they're like, once I'm there, and they're like, yes, I will 100% leave you a review, and I'll send them the review link, and a lot of them just don't get to
podcast episode couple back. Alex Corral, the guy has like 250 reviews. He got them in 1 year. He's incredible. He's my best friend. He owns a cabinet coating company, does over 1.25 million in sales. Phenomenal. He has a review segment we talked about in there. You'll get reviews. Just listen to that one. I'll leave you that. So the reviews are important, right? Alex Corral. So the reviews are important. Reviews do one thing. They build trust, right? So before we used to have to ask somebody what their experience was. Now we just read about it. It's a lot more efficient. Okay. And we base everything off of reviews of other individuals. Essentially, remember, when you're a marketer, you think what? Buyer mentality. Buyer says, if I go with them, I have a pretty good chance of having the same or even a better experience than the individual that wrote the review. That's why bad reviews are detrimental. It's, unfortunately, how you respond to a bad review can sway it in your favor. But if a genuine bad review was placed, that's a very hard thing to overcome.
Exactly. And that makes it important to get reviews alone. And just in case you have that one person,
you got to wash them out.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got to wash them out. So a bad review says, okay, the company's pretty good, but this person had a really bad experience. I'd rather not take that chance. Unfortunately, that's the case. Okay. So get as many good reviews as you can as quickly as possible. You want to your goal should be 50 by February, March, April, May, June. Maybe just shoot for August. Give yourself 5 months. Okay. February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, it's about 6 months. So maybe that's how many reviews? That's 10 reviews a month. Okay. That should be and you got to be a business owner in this standpoint is having KPIs, having goals of how many reviews do we need to hit. And then if you really want to hit them, what do? You incentivize your team. You know what I'm saying? That's an incentive that you can, hey, I used to do that. Hey guys, everybody gets a little bonus if you get a review on this job. So what are they going to say? Hey, please leave us a review. We get a gas card, or hey, please leave us a review, and then they're going to do a little better. Right.
Uh-huh.
So I'm
Yeah.
starting with reviews because I want to avoid you spending money, right? I mean, I love, let's start there. We're starting with like organic trust. That's what we're doing. Building trust online. We're being seen. It's not where you are. I mean, it's not where they are. It's where you are. We're being seen. We have to build trust there now because you can have a listing on Google. There's a ton of painters around me that have listings on Google. Why aren't they calling them? They have no reviews. They have 5 reviews. They don't respond to them. They don't have any pictures. They have nothing. And it shows, right? So if you want to be a big player in this game, which I know you do, you need to have the most reviews in your area. So I won't go any further on Google reviews. I will start talking about paid traffic, right? Remember, we're capitalizing on interest. People are interested. Google did the hard part, right? Google established itself as a trusted resource to find what?
Yeah, just
anything.
Yeah, anything, basically anything.
Google did what was Google's responsibility in the beginning? Generating interest. Now they put you in a position to capitalize on the interest they generated. If you try to generate interest, you have to generate interest and capitalize it. It's a little bit harder, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Google did the hard work. Now let's talk about Home Advisor. What did Home Advisor do? Same thing Google's doing. Same exact thing. They're just hyper focused on leads. If Home Advisor wanted to be a search engine for all things home stuff, if they wanted to sell faucets and toilets, I'm sure they could, but they just focus on allowing you to capitalize interest on homeowners wanting work done. That's why they're so expensive. Okay? Because you're getting people that trust Home Advisor. They did the hard work. They deserve the money. They have people that say, I'm going to go to Home Advisor. Home Advisor is going to deliver me a lead. Perfect. Or deliver me a contractor. Perfect. Now you get that information after the hard work's been done. And contractors will say, oh, well, they send fake leads. And they, it's ultimately then that becomes your job to convert that opportunity. That's all it is. Leads are not guarantees into a sale. And however you do that has to do with your follow-up process, has to do with your sales interaction, has to do with your pricing, has to do with your reputation, all those things. It's not Home Advisor's responsibility to capitalize on the interest. That's your responsibility. Home Advisor's only responsibility is to generate the interest, right?
Home Advisor has been the hardest thing for me to bite the bullet on. Even I don't mind spending $1,000 a month on sales, even $3,000, in a busy season. But it's like Home Advisor has been the hardest thing just because of the backlash I've seen from all these contractors. Gosh,
the same contractors that you're thinking, man, these guys don't leave brochures. These guys don't do this. Reality of the situation is, and this is another point I want to make because I want you to grab this because this is going to catapult you, okay? One thing I want you to understand is this. There are customers that like it. So if it's not up to you whether you like it or not, customers aren't going to ask the painters in the area, hey, do you guys like Home Advisor or what? No, they don't care about you. They don't trust you. We haven't built trust with them anymore. It's been diminished. So they want to go to a place that says, hey, it's actually a better idea to let us give you the screened and approved contractors than for you to do it on your own because, you never know who you're going to get.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. And if you don't get, go ahead.
So question for you and in your business and how it's set up right now, if you had to make a rough figure, where would you say your leads are all coming from? Like, is it just word of mouth? A lot of them at this point, Google, website, where is it? You know what I mean? If you had to split them up.
So right now I've actually transitioned. This year we're at about 50% paid leads. That's between Facebook, Home Advisor. We don't really do Angie's List, but we have an organic listing there. 50% we pay straight lead cost. Okay. 25% Google, straight organic Google ranking. And then we're in about 25% word of mouth, organic Facebook posts, like things like that, just straight. So we've transitioned, but guess what? In the beginning of my business, 95% paid, every lead paid for. Okay. Because I didn't want to spend the time doing what? Generating the interest. I wanted to spend the time capitalizing on the interest. It's a waste of my time to go out and knock doors. I would rather sell the jobs, produce the jobs. Okay. The big mistake people make is that they try to do everything themselves. They don't want to spend the money on it. Okay, no problem. Market doesn't care. You're just going to it's going to take longer for you to be successful and to systemize your company, because
Yeah.
you need practice before you can systemize. I need jobs in order to tell if my guys are any good.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted that feedback as soon as possible. I was an investor. I invested in Home Advisor, Angie's List, Google Ads, whatever. I don't care. Give me leads. Okay. Now you'll talk to somebody like Nick Slavic in that episode we just had. He calls it pulling the lever. We have the same mentality. He just does things a little bit different. Pulling the lever is he has a direct mail marketing team that goes out and knocks doors or puts a mailer in their mailbox or on the door. Okay. All he has to do, hey, how much do you want to spend? Where do you want them, Nick? Let's say 10 grand, and I want them in this neighborhood. Cool. Thanks. All he does, boom, done. That's done. The teams go out, they put their stuff. He gets phone calls. The more he spends, the more leads he gets.
Yeah.
Okay. Same thing I'm doing, just in a digital space. The more I spend, the more leads I get.
That's
your
amazing.
job.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad I asked you that, because that's good to see. 50%, that's a high number, and that's awesome. I mean,
but I have to keep up with my demand, right? I have to keep up with,
Yeah, no, that's incredible.
But I'm only in my fourth full year of business, right? So like if I was a 10-year veteran and everyone in my city knew me, that's going to go down to practically nothing, because if I've done things right, my Google's going to have like 500 reviews in 10 years. My Facebook reputation is going to be huge. Repeat customers. I just got a call from a lady today. We painted her exterior 3 years ago. Now she wants to do a whole interior. That's easy. So like these things, that's called a feedback loop. That's the circle of life in business. And you got to be in it for a certain amount of time. Spend the money early on and then coast on your good reputation after you've built it.
Great. Yeah, that's so. If you had to just choose your one source of leads, what would you choose if you had only
everyone? I mean, it's obviously Home Advisor because they're the biggest. I say this all the time, dude. I'm not. Everyone asks, "Are you affiliated with Home Advisor? Do they pay you?" No, they should.
They should.
They really should. But I don't care. I'm more concerned about. And guess what? If Home Advisor started dropping the ball, and Amazon, which could possibly happen, becomes the biggest lead generator for home service businesses, what do you think I'm going to say? Amazon. You need Amazon leads. They are the ones that customers trust. So the question is, who do customers trust the most to deliver them a quality result? Google, yes, because they find all the things that they're looking for on Google. So by default, yes. But Google doesn't specialize in home service. They're starting to, not for painters yet. In some areas they are, where they will actually put a little blue check or something that says preferred Google contractor. Okay. Check your area. I checked. I'm not, they don't have it for me yet. But that's how Google is trying to create that. And essentially what that is you affiliate with Google to be a trusted contractor. Eventually, what's going to happen is if you're not a trusted contractor, no one's going to call you on Google.
Yeah.
Why would you? If I need my AC fixed and you see 3 Google trusted contractors and the rest are not, oh yeah, I'm going to the trusted contractor.
Yeah, exactly.
No question. So,
yeah.
But that's where it is. So to answer your question, it would be Home Advisor, just simply because that is where customers are seeing the most. Like they spend the most on advertising. Angie's List is owned by Home Advisor. Okay.
Yeah.
Porch is affiliated with Home Advisor. Okay. Amazon, I believe, is affiliated with Home Advisor. Okay. Dude, they're a freaking mammoth. I mean, what are we going to do? We don't have a choice. What we do.
This other thing, it's called Bigger Pockets, and they're like a real estate investing company. They're even associated with Home Advisor, I noticed. Now I went to the Contractors folder where they have a list of all contractors for these investors, and sure enough, it was powered through Home Advisor. It's like, wow.
Of course. I mean, why not, right? And people that you're referring to, they're like, well, the stigma behind it. Dude, it's just because they don't know how to sell. Yeah. That's what it is. Like I got a stack of leads when I sold life insurance this big. I didn't complain when I didn't sell anything to the guy who gave them to me. That was my fault.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity. All those stacks of lead gave me was a name, address, and a phone number. I could call them, sure. But guess what? You have every right to go to a Home Advisor lead's house and knock on the door. Don't you?
Yeah.
But why? I guarantee anyone that's ever said that the leads are fake has never went to an address ever.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
No, I believe
So
it.
your
So,
level of sales knowledge and experience is going to dictate whether or not that's a good lead source for you. Okay. Tracking is important as well. Seeing what's working. Again, if you get a lead comes in from Home Advisor, okay, and they refer you to their neighbor, you need to associate that referral to Home Advisor. Okay. At least one tier. Don't go 30. You know,
yeah,
if you keep getting referrals, stop it at that. I'm just saying, at least that second level referral should be attributed to Home Advisor, because you would have never gotten it had you not sold the job from somebody you met on Home Advisor. And you're talking about expanding your radius, right?
exactly. Yeah.
What's the benefit of Home Advisor? You get to choose where the leads come from. And this is with all lead generation companies. Okay. So you could do Painter's Choice. Eric Barstow is the guy who, I think he's the co-owner of that. He's big in the painting business, and they only do painting leads. The only thing is, all they're going to do is buy ads at the top of the Google page, create a landing page that, again, what is he doing? He's generating interest, and then
Yeah.
you're capitalizing on it.
He's like
So
the middleman of a Facebook ad or whatever, basically.
that's right. So it's just a middleman, right? But so is Home Advisor. So don't think that he's doing anything wrong. That's all Home Advisor is. They're just a little more professional about it.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's like, but they're going to get the blow if something goes wrong, and they
Yeah.
do have a resolutions team, you know, which, you know, I've actually had to talk to. So you know, there's been an issue that I had to go through the resolutions team and go through a mediation with the homeowner and me, and it was crazy. But guess what? Besides my own anger toward the situation, I admired the fact that they actually did that for the customer. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of things to discuss here. My thing for you is spend the money, right? I mean, you know, if you got to think of what a marketing budget is. You want to be between 3 and 3.5%, right? That's a good marketing budget. So if you make $1,000, okay, 3% of that is $30. So you make $10,000 in a month, 3% of that is $300. If you make 100,000, obviously, you know, you're looking at $3,000, you know, but in the beginning, you might say, you know what, I'm going to do 7%. Get me as many opportunities as possible. So you have to use your own judgment there.
Cool.
And it all has to do with how much production you can produce too. You can have 100 leads, and if you can't do the jobs, waste of time.
Yeah, no, big time. That's the thing too. It's like I'm right in that margin where I'm trying to figure out because I've got this summer I'm planning, or that when spring hits, I'm planning on 4 other guys full time. So that's kind of my setup. So it'll be
Prepare
hard.
now.
What's that?
Prepare now.
Yeah.
Get the system down. Learn how to work these leads. Get your reputation up. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, that's my plan. I really I want them to be able to trust that I'll keep them busy and keep them consistent, and they won't have to worry about that aspect. Because as an employee, they shouldn't have to worry about any of that. I hear that all the time from other painters that are just working.
My guys never worry about whether or not work's coming.
Yeah.
I haven't missed a 40-hour week in 4 years, dude.
Yeah.
Probably the first 6 months of my business.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It was like we would have like one job and then we'd be off on a Friday. We haven't, and we won't. I won't allow it.
Or just to get an idea of how your business is set up, is it set up Monday through Friday? They're on the job, or is it
Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, paid lunch. So they only work usually 6.5 hours a day. They spend 30 minutes in the morning doing whatever. You know, I am the most lenient guy, but there are responsibilities and there are benchmarks to hit. You do what you want, get the job done by Tuesday. And if it's not done, then the manager has to have a conversation with me. If it happens too frequently, I find another manager. You know, but they know that there's no other company that's going to pay them through lunch, give them the leniency that I do, and provide a good pay. And that has been so beneficial for me.
Oh, big time. I've always said you don't cheap out on paying your employees, because
Never.
that is the heart of your business. I mean,
Part of your business.
I mean,
you are relaxed right now. You look so chill. You're chilling. You're having a great day, and you know your customers are being taken care of. Invaluable.
No, I'm really, I gotta say I'm blessed. I've really
That's the word right there. You're blessed.
You know, working for me. So
amazing, man. Dude, always good chatting with you. We'll do another one. Let's stop here so you can digest this and implement it. I think going forward, you know, the next time we chat, bro, I'd like to hear how these leads have went for you.
Yeah.
You know, so all right, man.
Sounds good, man.
All right, dude. It's always good chatting with you. I'll catch up with you on the next one.